Brilliant. So I'm here with my client Ahmad. He's been on the program since August 2025, so about 7, 8 months now.
Mhm.
He has a very tricky travel heavy lifestyle, based in Dubai, and we're going to go into how he's got on so far, where he was at beforehand, and also where he's at now, and what is on the horizon. So, first of all, Ahmad, could you
Mhm.
just introduce yourself, tell the guys what you do, and kind of what the travel looks like, I guess.
Perfect. Thanks a lot, Jacob. It's my pleasure to be here. So my name is Ahmad, as Jacob said. I was born in Egypt, raised between Egypt and Lebanon, so from the Middle East, and lived probably in 6 or 7 countries, including Dubai, Saudi Arabia, the UK, Belgium, US. So my career has spanned probably the past 20 plus years, and it's been a whirlwind of travel since I started working. As I said, lived in many of those countries, and my career meant that I'm always traveling. I was in consumer goods marketing at some point of time in my life, and I moved on to food and agriculture and commodities, which meant traveling to see clients, attending conferences, going to head office where in different companies that I worked for, which meant sometimes as well when I lived in the UK for 15 years, but I was also working in an American company whereby I had to go every couple of weeks, couple of months for a couple of weeks to head office in the States, or went to live in Belgium for 3, 4 years while my family was in London. So I was always on the road commuting. 3 years ago, I relocated to Dubai, and that's been a great experience. And still, though, meaning that I still do have to travel a lot back to head office as well in my company, and also to travel to clients and conferences. Um, Something that I've always felt that I needed to focus on was my health, my fitness for the long term, and it's something that I also found a great deal of progress for the past 7 or 8 months with Jacob and this
Mm.
program.
So, in terms of before the program, then where were you at? Kind of what was made difficult as a result of the travel, and how did you feel in yourself?
I'm a bit tall, not too tall, like 6'1" almost, which is around 186 centimeters.
Hmm.
And the thing that I enjoy my food, so that's one. And I'm always also very like intense in whatever I decide to. But sometimes I could also fall off the wagon. What does that mean? It meant that because of travel, I would be tempted to indulge in different foods, especially when you're on the go, especially when you're in hotels and airports. And there's this element of I need to reward myself because I'm tired or I'm traveling and so on. There's this element, oh, I'm in a new place, let me try a new restaurant. And it always meant that, if you're a bit tall and you gain weight, it kind of is hidden under the clothes, right? But then when you're on the beach or with friends and so on, then I always felt that, no, I need to improve my physique. And I would fluctuate or oscillate between, gaining weight up to, I actually was at some point in my life in my 20s, early 20s, above 100 kilos.
Okay.
Thank God those days are long gone, but I tried to reduce and I went down maybe 12 years ago or so to mid 80s, but then I always fluctuate to mid 90s. And that always meant for me that I'm not satisfied with how I look or how I feel. And I would like to have more consistency when it comes to my food, my health, and for the long term. And I felt the danger or the risk when my cholesterol readings became so high. And I felt like, no, now it's really time. I'm in my 40s. I have little kids. I want to, nothing's guaranteed in this life, but I want to be there for them long term. And
Hmm.
what can I do? Like, what are the serious steps I need to be consistent and not to just fluctuate and go to the gym, for a month and cut off for a few weeks and go on a good diet for a few weeks and try keto and then stop and so on.
Hmm.
And that's when we spoke to each other last August. That's
How
the situation I was in.
what had you tried beforehand, and had you seen any decent results? I'm guessing the results hadn't been kind of what you'd wanted.
2022, I think that was the last time I had tried like really in earnest and like in sincerity. And I lost weight. I'm gonna be very clear with you. Yes, I did lose weight. It was a keto diet, so I was completely on protein, like no carb diet. but then no gym, right? So I became a skinny fat type of situation. So I was
Hmm.
around 82 kilos and I was okay. And I was again back then 41 or something. So still not feeling like, the danger of getting to mid 40s. But then, like right when I left that diet in maybe 2023 and I started eating back some carbs, it's that feeling of rewarding yourself, or sometimes, for lack of a better term, feeling sorry for yourself. Oh, I must have that sweet, or I must have that fry, or that
Hmm.
potato, or that.
Hmm.
And that compounds. And I reached my worst weight in, you know, the past few years, back in summer 2025, which was around 95 kilos. And that reflects itself on my physique, on my health, on my ability to walk, to train. One thing that I did not mention earlier, I'm an ardent or adamant, let's say, hiker and runner. So I did the London Marathon 2018. I did several half marathons in my life. I love running. I love
Hmm.
the outdoors. I hiked Mount Kilimanjaro around, wow, 10 years ago. I went to the tallest mountain in Tubkal. I did the three UK peaks, which is
Hmm.
lovely, in Wales and Scotland and England. So this is like my life, adventurous. I like to do that. When I was in my 30s, I was doing that a lot. In my 40s, gaining weight, traveling, more work, more responsibilities meant that I'm more idle. And gaining weight made me feel like I cannot do any of the things that I love. Not that, that maybe if I lose weight, I'm going to have the time to do those things, but at least, you can be active.
Yeah.
And my intention is to, for the long term, to be there for my kids. So I tried many things. Keto was one of them. But then, and I also tried to do some online coaching with different coaches in different parts of the world. And I never found really the care or the attention to detail or the focus that this requires. And actually, I need sometimes this tough love or discipline that I'm finding in this relationship is working very well. So I can elaborate on that in a bit.
Yeah, and I guess the results you saw from the keto, trying to come back to that and have a bit more of a normal diet, what you would consider maybe a more balanced diet off the back of it, with the travel, just made things difficult to continue to manage. And would you say the travel was a big part of being around all this temptation and struggling to maintain what you had achieved, I guess?
Absolutely. As I said, I mean, I sometimes my travel schedule looks like, 2 weeks at least a month, sometimes even 3 weeks a month away from family in different parts of the world, on different airplanes in different airports. That meant, you're tempted by that Pret type of shops
Hmm.
in the airport, or the lounges, or the food on planes, or the restaurants, because you invite clients, and then there's nice steaks, or chips or wines or desserts that you want to try, and then one thing leads to another, and by the end of the evening you've overeaten and you think, oh, let me start tomorrow, reset tomorrow. And applying just willpower on its own without a program is just over exercising, and makes you a bit in fatigue, fatigue
Hmm.
from yourself, sometimes feeling that my willpower is failing me, and that
Yeah.
leads to more and more, sometimes, desperation. And I had to call it at some point, like, I need to do something categorically different.
And in those situations, I don't want to go too deep on this call, but in those situations where we gave into temptation, we didn't manage a situation as well as we wanted to, and we felt like we were undoing the progress we'd seen. Like, how did that feel, in those moments when we are traveling and we feel a bit out of control and maybe we feel like we're pedaling backwards a little bit?
I guess in the moment you enjoy yourself, right? You're with clients or friends or colleagues, and you're just like, having a bit of a good time.
Mm,
It's always the morning after, or the, 2 hours after that dinner or that lunch or that airplane trip, when you land after 10 or 12 hours and you're thinking, oh, what did I do to myself? Like, I
mm,
ate those nuts, I ate those fries, and so on. So there's always this feeling of regret, or this
mm.
feeling of, self revision, or self flogging sometimes, of why did I do that? I need to reset.
Yeah.
So it's, it's regret, and something that I would like to, or I wanted at the time to stop feeling. It's not a pleasant feeling.
Mm. And going into like when you actually came on board, how did you, I believe you messaged me my CTA that was in my bio at the time, on Instagram.
Yes.
So how did you come across my page? Do you remember?
I think it's the algorithm, right? Because that's
Hmm.
the type of content I was researching and viewing a lot. And
Hmm.
I'm going to be very honest, maybe for the first time with you, I had tried one coach before
Hmm.
online, and it was not a great experience because there was nothing in terms of, look, I mean, this is a very personal journey, right? And it involves willpower, it involves emotional decisions sometimes, it involves as well mental strength. And really finding a coach is like, it's a bespoke relationship, and I really appreciated that. From the moment we spoke, and again, not to make it very cheesy or anything, but you were very clear.
Mm.
Listen, you asked me questions. You were very you choose your clients carefully, and that also gave me some confidence, right? Because you're not just signing up someone just for the sake of financial gain or anything, but you were
Hmm.
very clear that you want to make a difference in that person's life or myself,
Hmm.
my life. And that gave me confidence from that first call. We spent around maybe half an hour. You're asking me questions. You sent me a questionnaire afterwards. It's very elaborate. It told me that, you're very serious. And of
Yeah.
course, I researched you online. How I came to your page, I think, was through the algorithm. But then from our first call and then the subsequent, interactions, whether it is the form, whether it is the signing me up on board, gave me huge confidence that this is the right start and the right journey. And thank God I've been proven right since then. So for the past 7 months. Yeah.
Absolutely. Here, here. And since joining the program, then, what do you feel like have been the biggest differences compared to what you have tried before, or compared to when you've tried it on your own? That's helped you actually see the progress that you have.
Look, you came, Jacob, from where we all came from in your program. You were there. You were the sometimes overweight and skinny fat child or adolescent, right? And I think you elaborate a lot on that, and that makes me relate a lot to your journey as well.
Mm, mm,
First, and because also you traveled a lot. You traveled a lot, so you understand our psyche, you understand our needs, you understand our struggles, right? That's
mm,
super important for me. When I talk to you, it's very seamless. So you've been there, you've done that, and you've gotten your act together, and you've really. So that's one thing that you're leading by example, and that's for me very inspiring. I'm
mm.
going to be very
Appreciate that.
honest and open with you here. Number one. Number two is your attention to detail, and your care about your clients. And I heard that before. I got to experience it personally in your calls with other clients. That as I was signing up with you, it took me a month or two to get into the program. And I
Mhm,
remember even by October, I was personally struggling, not because of something that you were maybe doing wrong or I was doing wrong, but my travel, my, let's say, skepticism a bit in the beginning, my getting used to the program, to filling things into Fitness Pal, to going to the gym and really getting
mhm,
a view of how to manage the gym sessions. It took me a couple of months. And again, no regrets. I signed up for a long term for a year in the beginning,
mhm,
and we'll come to that in a bit. But that was so different. Your knowledge and experience, your care for your clients that came across through listening to your podcast. Third one, your actual recorded sessions that you do on a weekly basis with your clients that you record, you put on Spotify. I actually subscribe to Spotify just to listen to your podcasts,
mm,
and that was a huge motivating factor, right? You led by tough love and said, if you don't do your 12,000 steps a day, it's kind of like it's like a gospel, right? You have to do it. And I would listen to those podcasts when I'm walking in the morning, and I'd be like, that's me. When you say you're gonna have lapses sometimes, you're gonna have setbacks, but that's how you dust yourself up and try again and get
mhm,
up and do it again and be forgiving to yourself, but be tough as well. And those things really led me over the few weeks and first few months from maybe August, September to November to really get into the program in a very serious way. And maybe sometimes it takes me a bit of time to sign on to things or to fully commit. But by then I had fully committed. I started seeing results.
mhm,
So I was 94.7 when I signed up with you. And by November, I was almost 90 or 89. Again,
mhm,
it's not maybe the progress that some people on social media say, you lose a kilo a week, which is fine for me.
Yeah.
But I was already seeing results. I was already feeling stronger at the gym. And that led me to keep on going. And that's very important.
Mm.
Keep on going.
What do you feel like was the biggest side? Because obviously travel was a big part of what was difficult to get control of beforehand. What do you feel like has helped the most in terms of staying in control when we've been traveling? Do you feel, and I'm curious to know your thoughts, do you feel like it's staying on track when we're away? Is that more of a physical, I need to do this and that, or is that more of a I need to have the right mindset?
Look, you have an amazing episode on your podcast. I think it's maybe number 11 or 12. Please don't get me, correct me if I'm wrong.
Hmm.
It talks about your discipline when you're in airports, when you're traveling, and not to be on holiday mode. I'm not on holiday mode. I'm in business mode for 3 days. It's like kind of what goes on in Vegas stays in Vegas. I mean, without any other thing, it's just about food here.
Yeah.
Uh, very, very clearly. But what I meant by that is, let's say you get on the flight, right? And they're being nice to you. They offer you that plate of nuts. And I get the plate of nuts and it's delicious. It's a bit warm. And then I ask for the second one. That's what I used to do. And I used to not think what I'm eating. And then you have the box of chocolates sometimes after your meal, or you have that dessert. And going to fitness pal, and you struggled with me, Jacob, yourself, and I think you were a bit frustrated with me to get me to filling things on fitness pal, and it took me some weeks maybe, or even a couple of months to really start filling it up, maybe even a few months, I'm not going to lie to our listeners, to get to fill fitness pal. But then when I really started doing it religiously, so to say, I became like the biggest supporter, or because like that plate of nuts would be around 500 calories. That's an insane amount of calories. That dessert, is 300 calories. And it's like, you know what? If I eat a chicken breast and I get proper protein from it, I probably would enjoy that much more.
Mm.
That made me switch, but the switch was very gradual. Again, on those work trips, I'd be offered, desserts, or we'd be having like, a steak, and then I have to have the fries or the chips next to it. I would not do this anymore. That change had to be gradual. I had to remember your podcast. I had to remember the results I'm achieving, and to say, I want to preserve those results. I want to move on. I do not want to have a setback like I did in the past. And it becomes second nature. It takes time to build. It's not easy. It's not in a week or two. For me, it probably took around 3 to 4 months to really get into the routine of that's me building an identity. Because again, one of your other podcasts, which I really relate to a lot, it's not something I'm trying to do. It's not something I'm experimenting with. It's my new identity.
Hmm.
The last example of that, I was yesterday at a family dinner, and they're offering me this amazing dessert that's full of cheese and sugar and syrup and blah, blah, blah. And they're saying, oh, it's amazing. And I stayed away from the table, like, being a bit shy and saying, oh, yeah, I'll come in 5 minutes. I'll come in 2 minutes. And then, like, someone came to grab me to have dessert. And I had to stand there and say, I don't eat this stuff anymore. And I got a bit of, you know, those odd looks like, oh, you're not eating our food or something. And again, it's okay, right? Because the moment passes and you feel great about yourself
Hmm.
later. You're like, I don't want this dessert. It does not add any value to my life. I'm happy the way I am.
Hmm.
I'm content in my physique, in my body, in my what I've been building for the past 7 or 8 months in this program. And that's it. That's my identity. It's not something I'm trying. It's not something I'm shying away from. And it takes a bit of courage, the
Mm.
first few times, and then later people start stepping away from you, and it's okay, by the way. When it comes to desserts, I'm fine not to be offered desserts or things that I know will not add to my well-being in the future.
Yeah.
So
And
building courage bit
yeah,
by
it's
bit.
not exactly. It's not the saying no, is it? It's that it's just being a bit more aware and accountable and understanding just what will make things easier. And if you're the kind of person who, if you have a little bit of a dessert, then and you can fit that in and you can then tell yourself to stop, then absolutely fine. But understanding the kind of person you are, and on a journey like this, you very quickly, tell me if you disagree, but you very quickly become aware of what situations you find easier to deal with and what situations you find more difficult to deal with and control. And then acting on on that discovery is very important because we want to make this as easy for ourselves as possible. And the My Fitness Pal and things, it's all to help us stay accountable and just to
Mhm.
keep us aware because when we are tired, when you're on the way back from a work trip, when you've been on the road for a long time and you're on your way home, that's when we're most vulnerable. And we experience those moments all the time. And a lot of the guys in the
Yes, indeed.
program do, yourself do, like on the way back from a work trip. And so if we continually make the wrong or make poor decisions in those moments, we are going to see regular setbacks. And that will either
Indeed.
just keep us in the same spot, or that will that will kill our belief that this is possible to the point where we give up. And if we give up, we're
Yes.
definitely not going to get to the point that we want to, you know? And I think over the last 6 to 8 months, you have embodied that. And look, we have had difficult days, you've had difficult moments, but
Yeah,
every single time, and we get better and better at it throughout the process. We acknowledge it, we understand it, and the next day we get out of bed and we put the pedal right back down and we get back on track because what else can we
absolutely.
do? You know? What else can we do?
Absolutely.
So what are
What you
you
said about
yeah, go.
setbacks is resonates a lot with me. So I started at 94.7 with you today. I registered the lowest weight a couple of days ago, around 82.8, which is around 12 kilos in
Yeah.
7 months. For me, that's fantastic. I want to retain that. I want to maintain that. To your point about food, so it's not about deprivation. So it's not like I'm depriving myself of that dessert or that chips or anything like that. I became like kind of immune to that thinking, listen, let me enjoy my healthy food. And again, what I'm doing very different from the past. In the past, I used to, for example, deprive myself of all carbs, which I don't do anymore. I eat my healthy potatoes, but they may be baked, they're not fried. I eat my healthy carbs like fruits and sugars from natural sources, not necessarily from very carb or sorry calorie
Process.
dense
Yeah,
desserts.
yeah.
So that's my mindset change. Happy with the results. I still have some way to go. So hopefully we have a few months together still, and that's where I'm looking to reach a target goal below 80 kilos, hopefully, so 3 kilos or so to go,
Hmm.
and to build muscle mass. My intention to build muscle mass is not to necessarily become ripped or anything of that, but the intention is to feel good, look good, but also for the long term, mid 40s, when I'm in my mid 60s, maybe in 20 years' time, I want to have that muscle mass to support me, support my joints, support
Hmm.
my a healthy lifestyle where I can always keep walking, hiking, maybe running if I can. That's something I'm really keen to getting back into. So
Doing
yeah,
the
this
things we
is
love
a
as for as
long-term
long as we
objective.
can, isn't it?
Absolutely, being there for my children, hopefully when they're grown up, um, and not depriving myself of anything, but to your point, being kind, but also being tough. That's a very fine line to walk to
Hmm.
myself,
Hmm.
to myself, being kind to myself enough to say, it's okay, we reset, we don't, dwell on the past, but also not to dwell in the sometimes setbacks. One thing I want to add here that you mentioned something about sleep. Sleep is super important, and that's something that you've also been coaching me a lot on. So you're not only coaching me on gym or fitness pal or willpower or changing the mindset or the identity. It's also about sleep, and sleep is a huge important factor. It's something I did not used to take care of in the past. I could go on 5 hours, but that also led to my sometimes indulgence or falling into traps of setbacks. And since I started listening to your coaching on that sense, meaning sleeping at least 7 hours per night, my
Hmm.
energy levels are much higher, but also my craving levels are much lower. My
Hmm.
control and strength, I don't need to apply my willpower. I'm just, being myself and relaxed and confident in my choices.
Yeah.
So it's made a huge difference.
And how, with the kind of 12 kilos we're at so far lost, how does that make you feel? You know, how does that make you feel day to day compared to think back to when, last summer where you were 12 kilos heavier and you kind of were struggling, you didn't know which way to turn, you tried some coaching, it hadn't worked out. Like, how do you feel in yourself now? Obviously, we're not at end goal, but yeah, how do you feel?
I would call it even midway, but I'm super happy. I'm not going to lose another 12 kilos, probably not, but maybe another 3 or 4. But then hopefully building muscle and the look that I'd like to have. But now the compliments I get from friends and from family are just amazing. And you get into a place that people have not seen you for a few weeks. Oh, you've lost so much weight. And again, it's not about just losing weight. It's about saying, oh, you're really getting fitter. And
Hmm.
that's compliments I get from friends
Hmm.
who have been friends with for a very long time. And that's very, very reassuring that I'm doing the right thing. So it's not just about really losing weight, about sometimes getting fitter or you're exercising. So it's evident that I'm exercising, not just,
Yeah.
losing weight, being on a diet, which I don't like as a term. It's
Hmm.
more like I'm having a healthy lifestyle, which includes
Hmm.
steps, which includes gym, which includes, taking care of my calories and my food intake.
Hmm.
So that's amazing. Even lighter in my everyday workouts and my walking and my just getting up and down the steps of my home. An important thing as well, so many of my trousers that used to
Yeah.
not fit me, now I'm very happily wearing them, and my suits that were, getting tight at the chest, and my shirts as well that were nice shirts, but I could not wear for a couple of years.
Hmm.
So that's very important as well. But even on the, swimming pool on the beach, I'm a bit still having a bit of fat around my belly, but I'm much more confident. My muscle tone is increasing on my shoulders, on my
Yeah.
abs, on my chest as well. And that's very important, to feel confident in our own skin
Hmm.
wherever we are, whatever we're doing, right? So
Absolutely.
that's very, very important for me, making me feel a huge difference. And also my kids, I have three kids, they're in their teens, and they're all kind of like following my journey and supporting me. And they're saying, "Oh, wow, now so you're 83, 82, and they're like surprised and inspired. I'm not, forcing or telling anyone to join me on any diets, but they're, I think, getting some also interest, in willpower and learning fitness and seeing me going to the gym and showing that consistency pays off, right? So
Hmm.
that's very important for me as well to pass it on, not necessarily for now, not necessarily in terms of gym or fitness or health, but in terms of life aspects for my children to see that, you can lead by example, so to say. So
Yeah.
that's important for me.
Absolutely. Yeah. And, we're eight-ish months in now. You've lost 12 kilos. Your mindset is polar opposite and completely transformed, as well as the physique is and the way you feel, how you interact at work and everything like that, and how you deal with those travel situations specifically is vastly different from when we first had a conversation. And it is amazing to see. And I cannot wait to continue. You obviously extended your commitment to the program by another year, which was
Mhm.
fantastic.
Yes,
To
thank you.
feel that commitment to the long term
Right.
benefits of dealing with this situation. And so that was incredible, and can't wait to continue on this journey. And one last thing I would like to ask you, if somebody was in your situation, maybe they've gone through a coaching experience that wasn't quite as tailored to their travel and it didn't take things into account. Maybe they've just been trying on their own for a long, long time and they haven't managed to get a grip of things. They haven't managed to see the progress, or they have and they've put it back on. They've taken backward steps and they don't really know which way to turn. If somebody was in that situation, they were sitting on the fence of joining a program like this, what would you say to them?
Well, the fact that you said that I signed on for another year tells it all. I think of this as a lifestyle, as a life choice. It's not a diet, it's not a fad, it's not just a coach who might send you a screenshot or a PDF of something to do. Like that would be like my biggest nightmare. That if you
Hmm.
were someone who'd send you like a PDF for me to go and print a paper or hold my phone in the gym, that would not been a successful relationship. But on the contrary, you have a fantastic application that has six weekly training sessions that are tailored more or less to the needs of your clients, and with videos that
Hmm.
helps me a lot because I was a novice at the gym, even though I had been to the gym many times in my life. But you know what? You go to the gym, you carry some dumbbells, you do some legs, you don't have any structure.
Yeah.
I'm the type of person that I can get very deeply into something, but gym was not one of those things for me. So if you made it seamless, and another thing that you did, which is I'd send you videos of my exercise at the gym and asking you if I'm doing it the right way, and you say no, switch. And that for me was way more valuable than having a PT or a personal trainer at the gym itself. I hate sometimes being hovered on by someone very close to me standing there, but having Jacob answer you within 24 hours and telling you, listen, you can do this in a better way. Here's another video. And then me trying it the next time and him answering a day later or you answering a day later has made a huge difference in my gym. I actually look forward to going to the gym. And
Hmm.
that's a huge transformation. I used to hate the gym. I used to dread the gym. You go there, you find all those ripped people, those people doing crazy, insane things, and you feel like so diminished in your own space. And
Yeah.
now I just feel confident. I'm not the strongest person. I will never be probably in the gym, but I'm just doing my thing. I'm minding my business. I'm listening to my music or your podcast, probably. Looking at your videos that you have sent me to improve, or recording a 30-second video for you to tell you, Jacob, can I do this better? And that for me made a huge coaching experience like I did before. I tell them, go in wholeheartedly, invest in this. It's in your future, it's in your health, it's in your, if you have children or family, it's in your family's interest and health for yourself. It's a long-term commitment. It's not a few weeks and done because all those crazy pages on Instagram show you, if you do this for 30 days, you're going to be like, ripped like Brad Pitt in his prime or something, which is insane. It doesn't happen like that. Some people are faster than me, which is I appreciate, and I'm happy with my own progress. So it depends on your commitment, your schedule, your life commitments. Because in my case, for example, because I have this extremely heavy travel schedule, plus as well extremely heavy family schedule, I was very happy with doing this very gradually over
Hmm.
a year
Hmm.
or so. And again, that for me meant that I'm doing this for the long term. I want it to become a lifestyle. So I advise anyone sign in wholeheartedly, jump in. Don't expect quick and easy results. It takes commitment, it takes change, it takes overcoming mental barriers, but it also takes belief, it takes a leap of faith, and the results will absolutely come.
Brilliant. Awesome. Well, I really appreciate your time, Ahmad, jumping on this call. As always, I enjoy any call that we jump on because your passion to improve, your passion to get to where you want to be is awesome, and you embody like that never give up attitude. And
Mhm.
I know the results. Years to come and way into the future will happen. It's inevitable, and we just got to stick
Absolutely.
at it. And I know you will because you've absolutely shown that you get back up and dust yourself off and continue to move forward after any kind of setback. So, and look, setbacks are completely normal with people for people with schedules like yourself, right? We can't be perfect all the time, but the qualities that you've just described there, the commitment, the belief, and continuing to give it your all, even in difficult situations, is the most important thing, right?
Mhm.
And you do exactly that. So, yeah, as I said, I appreciate your time. Here's to another 12 kilos, maybe. Who knows? We'll see where we go, and then
Yeah,
we switch things up, and who knows? You might be running marathons again in the next few years.
I'd love to. I'd love to. And maybe in 6 months, we'll do another progress call. It will be
Absolutely,
having already preparing for a marathon or something.
absolutely, and I'm sure all the guys who have listened to this, who are watching this, have found this super useful and can relate to a lot of the things you've said. So I appreciate you. I appreciate your time, and yeah, that was brilliant, mate.